There is a science-backed recovery strategy that is being practiced at the Pain Psychology Center here in California that is helping thousands of people eliminate their symptoms. The great news, beyond the fact that there is an effective recovery approach that is helping so many people eliminate their symptoms with conditions like ME/CFS and long COVID, is that you don't have to go to one of these centers to do it. Right now, in this video, I'm going to teach you how to do this recovery strategy from home and completely for free. There was a study in Boulder, Colorado that involved, I believe it was 150 people, and they divided them into 3 groups. And one group received pain reprocessing therapy, one group received a placebo, and then the third group just went on with their normal treatment as usual. Whatever they had been doing, they kept doing. And the people that were in the group that received the pain reprocessing therapy had incredible results. 98% of people that got pain reprocessing therapy, or PRT, saw improvements, and 66% were symptom-free or nearly symptom-free at the end of the 30 days. So right now, I'm going to walk you through the 5 components of PRT so that you can consider implementing this at home for yourself to eliminate your symptoms as well. And all of this is based around the concepts of brain retraining and nervous system regulation. And if this is something that you're looking to learn more about beyond this video, I have a completely free 5-day brain retraining course. You can sign up with the link in this video's description. I'll also pin it in a comment just below this video, and you will have insights and strategies delivered directly to you. So the first component of PRT, just like the first component of any brain retraining program out there, it's education. It's understanding the nature of symptoms, acute symptoms versus chronic symptoms, what makes symptoms become chronic. And it all boils down to some sort of threat assessment, because symptoms are the tools that our brain and nervous system have to alert us that something is wrong. If you get cut by a knife, the knife didn't cause the pain, the cut didn't cause the pain, your brain turned on that pain in response between the communication happening between your body and your brain to alert you. Something's wrong, attend to it, take care of yourself. With these threat assessments, they can be for a physical threat or an emotional threat. It's the exact same processes in our brain, the exact same neural pathways that are enacted. And sometimes your brain and nervous system are going to make mistakes, and they're going to turn on symptoms when you don't need them. And then fear is the fuel that keeps those symptoms going and makes them chronic, specifically fear around the symptoms. If you're panicking and freaking out every time you have symptoms, that reinforces to your nervous system something is still wrong. We still need to be on high alert. We're still in danger. It is not time to turn these symptoms off. And then we turn those symptoms off by facing that fear and diffusing it. So then that fuel source for the symptoms is gone, and the symptoms are no longer needed and they go away. An important part of this is understanding the pain-fear cycle. So you experience pain, and this triggers fear. And that fear reinforces something's wrong, so you feel more pain. So understandably, if you were afraid before, you're really panicking now because the symptoms are getting worse and worse. So your fear ramps up even more, signaling to your nervous system, even worse danger. Let's bring on more pain and more other symptoms. And on it goes. And this is how you can get to a place of being bedbound, virtually unable to do anything. And it can feel so perplexing. Like, how am I completely immobilized? And this is all coming just from my brain and my nervous system. But all symptoms come from your brain and your nervous system. They have the power to create any and all symptoms. And when you get into this fear, pain spiral, this is how they can become so intense and so severe that, many people tell me that when they're in that state, they really thought that they were dying. As horrible as it is, the great news is that in these cases, nothing is physically wrong in your body. There's actually no damage. You are okay. You just have alarm bells screaming so loudly that it feels like something is horribly wrong. So we shift this by starting to view our symptoms through a lens of safety and understanding that our body is okay, which leads us to the second component of pain reprocessing therapy, which is gathering evidence to help you really know this and believe this to your core. And it's really difficult to do this if a part of you still believes that all of these symptoms are coming from something physically wrong in your body. So you combat this by gathering as much counter evidence as possible. You become a bit of a detective and you start to look at some of these things and challenge your assumptions around them and be like, something's fishy here. Like, what is the evidence that maybe my body is actually okay and that my brain and nervous system are causing this, despite the lack of any sort of tissue or structural damage or pathology in the body? A great example is a woman that I interviewed. She was very anti-brain retraining and very locked into that belief that there were physical abnormalities that were causing these symptoms. But then she noticed one day, it's like, wait a minute, I can walk around my house. Like I can walk to the bathroom, I can walk to the bedroom, the kitchen, and I'm okay. But the minute I walk out the front door, I started to feel unwell. How come I can walk on this side of the door, but not on that side of the door? So this would be the type of thing that you would put on your evidence list, that there's inconsistency around when symptoms appear or don't appear, or if you have good days or better days and then worse days. Do symptoms come on in a time of stress? Or are they only certain times of the day? Or are they happening on each side of your body at the exact same time? Like, it's really unlikely that you're going to get wrist pain in both wrists at the exact same time and that you've injured them both in the same way. Another example that I use often is that, if you have a broken arm, it's broken all of the time. It's not just broken on your bad days. There aren't days where it suddenly is fine and you can use it and there are no issues. And then the next day you wake up and you're like, oh, this is a bad broken arm day. I'm going to have to just lay here and do nothing. So looking at all these sorts of things, you start to write them down, you create that evidence list, and then you start to know and really internalize and believe and see that, okay, I am physically fine. And then the third component of pain reprocessing therapy is noticing your symptoms through a lens of safety. And this is done specifically with something called somatic tracking, which you may have heard before. There are different ways of doing this. People teach it different ways. I can link in a video here that I did all about somatic tracking as practiced at the Pain Psychology Center as a part of pain reprocessing therapy. In a nutshell, this approach to somatic tracking is when symptoms come up, and the best time to do this is when symptoms are mild or moderate, so that you're in a state of being not too fearful and panicky, and you can actually face the fear and have it be a corrective experience. And when those symptoms come up, instead of panicking, becoming terrified, what's happening? Am I not getting better? Is my body broken? Instead, you're just more of a neutral observer, and you just work to have a calm lens, like a lightness, and have this neutrality when looking at the symptoms. So it's just curiosity. Like, what are they doing? Where are they in my body? Like, what do they feel like? Are they moving around? Are they changing shape? And doing this with reminders to yourself that you are okay. Your body is okay. This is just your brain putting on a show for you, essentially trying to get your attention to alert you to something that is wrong. But in this case, there is nothing wrong in your body, so you don't have to worry and everything is okay. The fourth component of PRT is addressing other emotional threats. Quite often, what's happening is that your nervous system is stuck in a high alert state, and we are trying to down-regulate it. It can come to a place where virtually everything is setting it off, and you might be responding to loud noises or bright lights or all sorts of things that wouldn't normally have set your nervous system off. So you're looking to lower that overall threat level. It's getting at the root of why it's in this state. So it could be trauma that you're carrying around from your past. This could be small t trauma or big T trauma. This can be those repressed emotions. This could be stressful things in your life. This could be living a life that's not in alignment with the one that you want to be living. So this is through journaling, through therapy, through counseling, through meditation, through whatever it takes to start to unpack all of this. And you don't have to fix everything. You don't have to resolve all your trauma. Like Nicole Sachs talks about in her book that I'm reading right now, excellent, Highly recommend it. And she talks about this emotional reservoir, like a beaker from a laboratory that's located in the center of our chest, a large beaker, and it fills up with all of these emotional things. And we have some capacity to carry some around, but when it reaches that critical point at the top where it's going to overflow and our threat assessment systems go crazy, that's when you have to deal with it. So we're just trying to take scoops out. We're just trying to keep it at a manageable level. And a lot of this too is about how we talk to ourselves. So what's that voice in your head saying? Is it critical? Is it driving you hard? Is it telling you you are not good enough? So this is why we hear so many people in the recovery interviews talk about how learning self-compassion, learning to be kind to themselves was a really integral part of them working with their nervous system and working their way through these conditions. And then the fifth component of pain reprocessing therapy is to work to start gravitating towards more positive feelings, emotions, sensations, because often with these conditions, we have hardwired ourselves to fixate on everything that is wrong, to find everything that is wrong in our body, in our life. What symptoms do we have? What's going on? You're trying to start to rewire to look for the good. And this can be things just as simple as I feel the sun on my skin right now, or the breeze on my face, or, the nice soft feeling of my shirt, or petting my dog or my cat, and just how soothing that is. Because one of the goals with pain reprocessing therapy is to shift from being in danger mode to being in safety mode. So you're working to create a bias for noticing the good in life. If you want to read more about PRT in detail, an excellent book is Alan Gordon's book, The Way Out. It's one of my all-time favorite books on recovery. He talks a lot about chronic pain, but he also talks about how this applies to many other things beyond chronic pain, and that we in the ME/CFS Society are piggybacking on chronic pain science to help us recover from these conditions as well. And all the experts, scientists in this field are all now also talking about how, wait, this is also long COVID. This is also so many other things. We started with pain, but now we're seeing its symptoms. If you're still having some doubts of are these symptoms really what they call neuroplastic in nature? Are they coming from the brain and nervous system? Or is there stuff physically wrong with me? And sometimes there is. You absolutely have to rule out the physical stuff first. That is step one. I'll link a video here to help you figure that out. It walks you through an assessment with questions you can ask yourself to help you to determine whether these symptoms that you are currently having are physical, structural in nature, or if they're coming from your brain and nervous system. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in this next video.